Lads, I wanted to talk about the Joseph Suali'i situation. Okay, I wanted your thoughts on the eligibility rules and what you guys think about it. Should there be any changes to it? Just your quick thoughts.
Absolute gun, first of all. Joseph Suali'i. And he is like...
Is it Sua'ali'i or Suali'i?
Sua'ali'i, yeah. Absolute gun. I back him 100%. 100%. And I'm actually looking forward to the World Cup. To Samoa, baby.
Nice.
Azza, what are your thoughts on it?
Obviously, we're all Samoan, so I love the decision that he's made.
Yeah.
I do think, though, I do think there should be a review of the eligibility rules. But I do like that World Cup year, you can, eligibility rules go out the window, pretty much. I like that.
Yeah,
just to level the playing field of the World Cup, because we get so sick and tired of seeing Australia, New Zealand, England being the only teams competing.
Yeah.
I'll pass it on to you before I go a little bit deeper into it.
Here's the thing. I love it. I love that they can play for Samoa, they can play for Tonga, they can play for any of these, what do they call them? Tier 2 countries. That's great. But my thing is, if you're going to commit, to play Origin, right?
Yeah.
I think that your allegiance should be to Australia.
Yeah.
Rubbish.
I can, honestly, I see that perspective as well.
So
here lies the biggest issue, and especially in rugby league on the international game, because we think in the international games governed heavily by NRL and ARU.
Yeah.
ARL. So like, if you continue to think that Australia Rugby League has priority over the international game, then you continue to see State of Origin be at the pinnacle of rugby league, and the international game where you represent your nation, and your and the biggest, which should be the biggest stage of rugby league. You miss out a huge.
Yeah, I think that's why this year is so gun, is the fact that so many great players are spread out through different teams. Samoa's team stacked, Tonga's team stacked, England. There's a lot of teams that can potentially win it this year, whereas in prior years it's Kiwis versus Aussie in the finals. And that was it's too predictable. But I get it from the Australian point of view. If you represent New South Wales, if you represent Queensland, your first allegiance should be to Australia. I completely understand that. But then, if you have played Origin before and you don't get selected for Australia, that's where I think you should be able to play for Tonga, for Samoa, Cook Islands.
That's the issue that I have, is that it's okay for Australia and Australia to drop a player if he's not playing well, and then you go and represent your tier 2 nation of your heritage.
Yeah.
But when they're coming in, it's pretty much their best form of their careers.
That's when they want them.
That's when they want them.
That's the issue that I have.
Yeah.
That's the classic AB's case as well. If you cross code, just to you give, when you're reaching your prime years in the sport, you most likely offer your allegiance to All Blacks.
Think about how robbed we were of not seeing Charles Piutau represent Tonga for all those years that he couldn't play for, because he played that test for the All Blacks. So, eligibility rules in general, there needs to be a massive shake-up when it comes to rugby league and also
I used to
rugby
think
union.
rugby league had the perfect framework, Like the best of the best play the best of the best, and then State of Origin is its own thing.
Yeah.
Like, it should be set apart from the international game.
That's one of the bigger issues there, is that they make State of Origin the pinnacle of rugby league, and
Which
somehow
it
that
is,
needs to take. Somehow the international game needs to take precedent. It needs to be the top of the top. But kids in Australia, they grow up wanting to play New South Wales. They grow up wanting to play Queensland. But how do you make them want to grow up and play for it's for Samoa over the Kangaroos. Like, there's a lot of...
If they had equal pay...
That's another
If
issue.
you had international... If the international games had equal pay for both teams, I think more players would...
I think the conversation's different once you introduce equal pay. Like, who was it that said, take away the paycheck?
But you get paid pennies to play for Samoa.
That's what I mean, though.
Yeah.
You take away the paycheck, and then we see where the allegiance lies, because then there's no... because what's really the... Because we're saying, like, State of Origin is the pinnacle, right?
Yeah.
That's what you're saying, eh?
Yeah.
But if you take away the paycheck, is it still the pinnacle? Do people still really want to play their game? If it meant that you can no longer play for a tier 2 country, would you get paid exactly the same? I don't think so.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that's an issue in itself. Eh? It's the pay. But I can't hate a player for going to chase the bag as well. Because
get the bag, baby.
Chase that bag, man. And
Secure the
I've
bag.
always been a fan of players going after the bag, because that's your job, that's your career. You know, make the most of it while your career is still there, because you can only last 5-10 years on average. So chase your bag, but just remember, like, you know, if someone does want to represent Samoa, they shouldn't be bashed for it. Like Sua'ali'i is a perfect example, because he's still young. He's still gonna be worth millions in the next years to come. So he's gonna represent Samoa now. Probably go to Union next year and play the World Cup. We don't know, but talented kid.
But was that a thing, like, when Jerome Luai wasn't in form and he was playing 9 for Samoa?
That was when he was 18.
Exactly. And now he's sitting here, the Blues starting 6, first option.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? You can't have it both ways if you're Australia, eh?
Yeah.
I get that they want to maintain the highest level for Australian Rugby League, but at some point, I think it starts to hinder the international game.
It's a detriment of the international
the
game.
development of the game itself.
I mean, let's look at, in contrast to FIFA. Hey, like, you can play for whatever club you want to play.
Yeah.
And there's no real State of Origin kind of rivalry. Kind of game. But come World Cup year, you are representing...
That's what's so
like,
cool
whoever,
about it.
And then the argument is for the NRL is like, where did you learn your craft? Especially even with New Zealand and the All Blacks. Like, where do you credit your skills and your talent and at the platform or on the platform that you are now?
Don't you think that's different though? Because they get millions, like, or you know, at their clubs that they play.
Exactly. But then that's what Australia have going for them. They're the closest to that kind of system, where like, if, for instance, the Tonga team, Tamarolo makes his money with his club, and then he goes and chooses. Like, he could obviously play for New Zealand and get maybe like 30K more. Every international game, but he's like, I'm sweet with the bag that I got, because you know, I was on $1 million like earlier on in my career, so I've secured my bag, but I want to represent for my heritage, for my parents, my family.
Now he has the freedom to do that, eh?
Yeah,
like that's what makes Sua'ali'i's move more like for, in terms of his career, risky, because he could get injured. But it makes it more...
Mate, there's always a risk of getting injured when you play a contact sport.
So are we in the agreement of you can play State of Origin and play for a Tier 2 nation? Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, that's what
I think we're all in agreement on that. But then... but I understand their perspective. Because...
Tonga's Tier 1 now, eh?
I don't know. It's a grey area. They were Tier 1, now they're Tier 2. I don't know.
Because what's to say that Samoa come away from this World Cup and they're Tier 1?
Or any of those countries.
But I wouldn't be surprised if they do it just so they can...
so they can't.
Yeah, they can't get those players. Like,
are they still going to keep the same... I mean...
Yeah. What are the final thoughts? What are your final thoughts on this whole Sua'ali'i situation? and the eligibility rules.
For myself, it's hard to speak because you've never really been in the situation where you have to choose, and you can't say you've lived through the tough decision that someone like Sua'ali'i will have to make. But in saying that, more power to you, because think of our small nations, population like not even near 1 million yet, and you've been like, because you carry that nationalism and that want to represent Samoa because it's my heritage, or Tonga if you're from Tonga or your parents are from Tonga, and it's just more power to you, And if rugby league is a platform, or especially at the international level at a World Cup, if they welcome that, honestly, you'll see some of the best. Yeah, you'll see some of the best footy played this year's World Cup.
And I think that, I still believe that if you play for, if you pledge your allegiance to the flag of the United States. I think that what he's doing and what a lot of those Toa boys are doing, and same with Tonga and Fiji as well, like they're missing out on Australia. It's not like to me, it's not like a massive blow, but it's huge for those islands. Yeah. It's huge for Mate Matonga and Toa and the Fiji Pati. Like it's massive for them. What this World Cup could mean for them, Australia, New Zealand, England, like let's say that they come away and by some chance they don't win this World Cup. Yeah. Either one of those three, right? That's just one World Cup from how many they've won already. Yeah. But this is massive for those tier 2 countries, the smaller ones, especially in developing the game outside of Australia. Australia, outside of Origin,
Ezra?
Yeah, just on the Joseph Suali'i thing, I think it's a classic case of catch-22 for him. It's a lose situation either way. Also, I think if I was in Australia's shoes, I would, you go off and you could represent your heritage in the World Cup. Your place isn't guaranteed when you come back. Like that's the only way I can see it going forward. Like for them, they've lost out on there's another example. Josh Sua'ali'i, 2017. He was overweight, considered overweight, wasn't in form, and Australia dropped him. He went and played for Samoa. Now that he's in his prime years of his career, along with like Junior Polo, those you could say those two would be in that squad.
100%.
Now they're crying. Crying me on their side,
crying wolf.
It's a tough one. It's a tough one. But
honestly, big shout out to Jason Taumalolo, Andrew Fafita for starting that
whole Tonga movement.
That whole Tonga movement.
You gotta give it to me. Hey, baby, it's 685 around here, but
685 all day. But honestly, big shout out to those to Andrew Fafita.
Here's another classic case: James Tedesco. In 2013, he played for Italy. He played City Country that year.
And why are they
get picked?
Exactly?
And they said, okay, I'll represent Italy. Now he's the best fullback in the game.
He'll definitely start for the Kangaroos.
Chris still thinks Billy Slater's playing.
But while we're on sports, can I bring your attention to the challenge, the Haka challenge, the Wallabies game? So like last week, the Wallabies came out and challenged the Haka by the ABs, and then I think later on at the end of the game, Rico Ioane must have come out and said something like, "Don't ever disrespect the Haka like that again."
What do you mean challenge? Like what do they do?
They walk forward
in
their
boomerang,
like a boomerang thing.
You know what boomerangs do, right? Once it goes, it comes back to you.
And Rico must have said something to one of the players at the end of the game, like, "Don't ever disrespect the Haka like that."
Honestly, I love it, I love the fact that they challenge.
Yeah, but
I get it from the.
Dave Reedy's reply was like, "Well, you said that you laid down a challenge during a Haka, and
we're gonna take on that challenge."
Like typically, you're supposed to lay your own. You're supposed to send your own challenge cry or your war cry out.
Yeah.
My thing was like, so why didn't you do an Aboriginal war cry? Like if you're saying the Kiwis, the All Blacks have laid down
But do you think what they did was bad?
No, I don't necessarily think what they did was bad, but what they really had said was, this is our challenge, this is our reply or our response to the challenge laid by the All Blacks during the Haka.
Yeah.
So why don't you
do Aborigine
and he said,
war
that's
dance
why we
like-
did a boomerang formation, was to show that we're from Australia.
Oh, mate, I love that. Challenge the All Blacks.
Yeah, I think it was cool that they challenged it.
Yeah.
I would like to see an indigenous
War cry.
Like war cry?
war cry.
Yeah, yeah.
Like they do for the Ulster.
That'll be so
But
fun.
let's be honest, Wallabies aren't ready for that.
They're not really. They're baby steps.
Yeah, no,
Wallabies aren't ready for that. Neither are the kangaroos.
Why aren't they?
They can't afford to spend a week learning a war cry when they need to be implementing game plans to beat. You know,
they need to be working on their fitness and speed, man. No, but honestly, yeah, to wrap the sports talk up, man, big shout out to Joseph Suali'i for representing
And to all
Toa.
the players.
All the
Brian
players,
Toa.
Josh, Brian Toa, all those
Jerome
players that were eligible for
Stephen Crichton.
kangaroos. Yeah, we're super proud of you guys.
Mulitalo. Oh,
Leave him alone, mate.
Maybe they'll
that's my boy. What do you mean? That's my boy.
Super proud of the boys. Backing you, backing 685, backing Toa 100%. But Joseph, after this World Cup, go chase your bag. Go
to the
chase the
Wallabies.
bag also.
Go to the Wallabies and get your money.
Malo boys, malo.
That's us. Millie clap.
Nah.
Nah.
Let's go Lebanon.